Hi, this is Mrs. Brode, and we're going to end the polynomials unit by talking about the GCF again. So remember that GCF stands for greatest common factor. And in the last note set, we compared a couple monomials to figure out what the greatest common factor is. We're going to do that again today, but we're going to look at a couple rules first. So I'm going to list some rules on finding the greatest common factor. So the first rule is to actually find the GCF. That's what we'll call it for short. The second step is to put the GCF outside of the parentheses. And I will model all of this in a few minutes. And then the last step is to divide and leave everything else inside the parentheses. Okay, so let's start with number 1 using our rule. The first thing we want to do is we want to look for the GCF between 15m squared and -9. So we're not going to say that a negative is common between them because the 15 does not include a negative there. So they don't have any m's in common. So what we can see is that they have a 3 in common. So the GCF would be 3. Now, the step that people miss most often is sticking that 3 outside of the parentheses. That is still part of the answer. So that 3 has to go on the outside of the parentheses, and then we're going to divide everything by that 3 and leave that inside the parentheses. So I'm going to start with 15 divided by 3 is 5. I don't have anything to divide the m squared by, so it stays 5m squared. And then I'm going to say -9 divided by 3 is -3. And this would be my final answer. So again, common mistakes are not putting that GCF outside of the parentheses. It must be included in your answer, because if I was going to distribute this back, I should be able to get my original answer back. So I can't leave the 3 out or it makes it a completely different problem. So let's look at the second one. I've got 5x squared and 10x. Well, what we should be able to see is that there's a 5 in common between the 5 and the 10. And then remember, when we look at the variables, we're looking for the lowest. That's what they have in common. So there's 2 x's and 1 x, so they have 1 x in common. That's going to stay on the outside. So I am going to divide everything by 5x. So I'm going to say 5 divided by 5 is 1. X squared divided by x, the rule is subtract. 2 minus 1 leaves 1x. So let's do the second part. 10 divided by 5 leaves a positive 2. And then you can see that the x's are going to cancel out. So this would be my final answer. So again, find the GCF, put it outside the parentheses, and divide by the GCF, leaving everything else inside the parentheses. All right, so let's look at number 3. We're looking at 4x to the 5th, -6x to the 3rd, and 14x. So let's just look at the 4, the 6, and the 14. We know they don't have a negative in common because they don't all have a negative. So starting pretty simple. Do they have 2's in common? Yes, they all are even numbers. They all have a 2 in common. And if you look, the only other thing they could have in common is a 4, which they do not. So we know that all that they have in common there is a 2. The next thing we need to look at is the x's. X to the fifth, x to the third, x. We're going to go with the lowest one. The lowest one is x to the first. They only have a single x in common. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to divide everything by 2x. So let's start with this piece. 4 divided by 2 is 2. X to the fifth divided by x to the first leaves x to the fourth. Don't forget this negative on the next part. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. X to the third divided by x leaves x squared. And then finally 14 divided by 2 is 7. X divided by x cancels out. So this is how I would write my final answer. All right, so number 4. If you look, you can see that now both of these have a negative in common. So now I can pull out a negative. So what else do they have in common? Well, of course, they have 2's in common, but we want the greatest common factor. Do they have anything else in common? 8 can be broken into 4 and 2. 12 can be broken into 4 and 3. So we do see that they have a negative 4 in common. So then let's look at the a's. A squared, a. That means they have a single a in common. Looking at the b's, b and b squared. They have a single b in common. And finally, looking at the c's, c squared and c squared, they have 2 c's in common. They have c squared in common. So that is my GCF. I have to divide everything by that GCF. And don't forget that negative. So what I can see is negative divided by negative is going to make a positive 2. A squared divided by a would leave a. B divided by b, that's going to cancel out, so we wouldn't have a b there. And c squared divided by c squared, that's also going to cancel out. So then looking at the second piece, negative 12 divided by negative 4 is a positive 3. A divided by a cancels out. B squared divided by b, 2 minus 1 leaves a single b. And c squared divided by c squared cancels out. And that's it. So why don't you pause the video, try working out number 5 all on your own. When you're ready, hit play and see if you were right. Okay, so here's my answer. I had a GCF of 3x squared. You can see that a couple of them do have y's, but the first one does not have a y, so they don't have that in common. I divided everything by 3x squared, so I got 3x squared outside the parentheses, don't forget that. X squared minus 3xy plus 2y squared left inside the parentheses. All right, so last one on the first page. What do 15 and 20 have in common? They have a 5 in common. What do x squared, or x to the third and x squared have in common? They have 2 x's in common. So x squared. What do y squared and y have in common? Just a single y. We go with the lowest. And then finally, what do z and z squared have in common? They have just a single z in common. So that is going to be my GCF, and that's going to be what I divide everything by. So everything that I divide out is going to go inside the parentheses. 15 divided by 5 is 3. X to the third divided by x squared is x. Y squared divided by y leaves just a y. And my z divided by z cancels out. Then to the second one, 20 divided by 5 is 4. X squared divided by x squared cancels out. Y squared divided by y squared cancels out. Z squared divided by z leaves a single z in that part of the answer. And there you go. All right, so once again, the backside has some review questions for us. So we're going to read number 7. It says, the perimeter of a rectangular garden is 42 feet. The length of the garden is 6 feet more than twice the width. Find the length. Remember always to look at what it's actually asking for. And in this case, it wants the length. So again, going back to let statements, I'm going to let L equal length and W equal width. And if you do want to draw a picture to see rectangular garden, the length is 6 more than twice the width. So you've got twice the width. All right, twice the width plus 6. Twice the width plus 6. That means the width would just be W. So what we know is that the perimeter formula is 2L plus 2W. And that also is going to be equal to 42. The other thing we know is that length is 2W plus 6. So what I would do is I would use substitution, and I would substitute 2W plus 6 in for my L in the first equation. So I would get 42 equals 2, don't forget the parentheses, times 2W plus 6 plus 2W. I'm going to distribute that 2, and I get 4W plus 12 plus 2W. I'm going to further combine my W's, and I get 6W plus 12. So again, just solving a two-step equation. I'll rewrite it over here because I have more room. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, and I get 30 equals 6W. I divide by 6, and I get W equals 5. Is that what I want? And it is not. It specifically asks for the length. So don't tell me, even though we had to solve for it, don't put that in your final sentence. Now I'm going to plug in 5 back up here into my original length problem. So 2 times 5 is 10, plus 6 is 16. So we would like to write a sentence, and I'll squeeze that in up here. The length is 16 feet. And of course you could check that if you wanted to. 2 lengths of 16 would give me 32. 2 widths of 5 would give me another 10. That does equal our 42, which is what they said the perimeter should be. Okay, another word problem. Altogether, Rob spent $52 for 2 shirts, including tax. The difference between the cost of the shirts was $18. What was the cost of the most expensive shirt? Okay, so I'm going to say that X equals cost of one shirt and that Y is the cost of the other shirt. So the first thing that we know, this is a system of equations. The first thing that we know is that he spent $52 between the 2 shirts. So he bought the first one, he bought the second one, he spent $52. The second key here is the difference between the cost of the shirts was $18. That means one shirt minus the other, the difference in those was 18. So I would do elimination. I can see that I have this set up to easily eliminate the y's. I can see that 2x equals 70. And I can see that one shirt would be equal to 35. Well, is that the most expensive shirt? Well, I would say 52 minus 35 leaves me with the other shirt being $17. So yes, this is the most expensive shirt. So we would say the most expensive shirt was $35. And that is our final answer for number 8. And that leaves us with one more problem. Simplify. I would probably simplify these in pieces. And I would say 15 divided by 5 is 3, and then nothing to divide the x. Negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5y. And then I've got this negative out here. I can just go ahead and bring that down if I want. But I need to be careful and put parentheses around that, because really what's happening is that negative would have to distribute up here. Okay? If you wanted to go ahead and do that first, you could. So 14 divided by 7 is 2, and then x. Negative 21 divided by 7 is negative 3, and then y. But I do need to distribute that negative. So if you did it first, great. If you're doing it now, that is also fine. But I'm going to get negative 2x plus 3y, and I can go ahead and combine like terms. 3x minus 2x is x. Negative 5y plus 2y is negative 2y. And that's as simplified as we can get.